we're going to talk a little bit more about domestic violence and the culture, hierarchy, and how it works. Not just in the relationship, but then how it follows you later. Okay, this is the spider webs that I talked about before. I'm not the only one that's talked about it. Plenty of people have, but this is kind of how it goes. It's gonna be a little scattered, but what do you do? So this kind of bleeds over into boys, but that's a whole separate, Pakistani gender studies situation. But we're just gonna talk about the girls right now and how that works, because sorry, patriarchy always wins. Y'all motherfuckers got a huge ass club, and it is what it is, right? So I didn't sign a fucking NDA. And people gotta know. So once you already run your mouth, right? You're like, oh hey, I had this training, choo choo, And the DV training usually doesn't come with just one abuser. It usually comes with many, because of the nature of the beast, the nature of that motherfucker club, But usually the DV itself is not just one incident or a couple of incidents. It's a pattern of behavior and a pattern of abuse. All compiled together becomes like a domestic violence. This isn't the legal definition. This is like the literal definition, the cultural definition. So when it goes down, and then you leave that, you have been through that pattern, and the lifestyle of it, and then you leave. You either have to completely change everything and go to a completely different narrative, and it's usually that feminist, oh my god, I'm a victim, I did nothing wrong narrative. If you have to do that, or you have to play the game, right? And if you ever deviate from that narrative, that first narrative, you gotta play the game. It's just the way it is. Because the narrative is when you play. It's a big dance. We all know this happened to you because of the nature of the beast, but you're gonna play along, and you're gonna do the dance, and you're gonna let us, this next person in line, you're gonna let us talk to you any way we want. Oh, but it's going to be your choice, because you're going to guide how it goes. We're going to respond to you. And if you don't play and dance, well, you're going to have to fight, which means you go to the other narrative. So those of us that don't learn or don't want to dance that dance, there's dancing and there's submission, and that's really what that ends up being, is submission. And so some of us can't do that, because that submission involves a bunch of lies about yourself and about your experience, and about what you've witnessed. So it ends up being your testimony, and whatever testimony you decide to testify with is going to dictate how the rest of your life goes. So you have the choice to either take the dance and playing route, that submission route, and you tell the story about how you went crazy, and you were too demanding, and you were too naggy, and you didn't fulfill your duty, and all this stuff. No, I overreacted. Oh yeah, I know I said this, but that's not really what happened. This is what happened. And you basically take all the blame on yourself. Back in the day, they would call it hysteria. You were sick. You were so sick. Now, if you can play that game, that's cool. Kudos to you. I never fucking learned how to play that game. I'm more about the truth, you know. And that brings us to the other category. If you're going to tell the truth, and if you're going to keep telling the truth, and then you only get so many chances to play it too. There's that whole part of the game, but that's a whole different story. You only get so many chances to play, and if not, like, you don't play, you're going to fight. Okay, well, I don't want to fight anymore. Okay, well, then you need to shut up about your experience. Okay, well, I refuse to shut up. Okay, well, then you're going to fight. And this is how it's going to go. You know, you've already been trained with certain keywords and phrases, sometimes physical gestures. You know, you've been trained. You know the drill. You know the hierarchy. You know the chain of command. You know that when you're told to sit, you need to sit. You know, when you're told to lay down, you need to lay down. Okay, well, if you don't want to do that, well, then you're fighting. Whether it's physical fighting or, you know, verbal judo or whatever. And you kind of get to learn that this is what these phrases mean. Now I have to fight, you know. But not only do you know this, like, everybody else knows this too. You know, maybe not everybody, but the motherfucker club and them bottom feeders, you know, they know because they've been there. You know. So now you are, I guess, a commodity, for lack of better words, you know, and you're like a product. You're the product. And now there's these other people higher up in the chain of command than you are that want that product because they know that you've been programmed and trained to react in a certain way, and they want content, for lack of better words. You know? And it has to follow along a narrative. Usually something around like, oh, you know, hey, I see you're interested in me. I'm going to, like, tell you all the cool things about myself. And we're going to talk about me, and I'm going to dehumanize you, you know, and then I'm going to say the keywords and the phrases to get you upset or, you know, triggered or whatever. And, you know, ask you for an explanation. And now this is your chance to either go and dance or fight. And if you're going to be on the side of truth and you say, hey, you know, this is what happened to me, this is where I'm at. Oh, you're going to fight. Okay, well, then you stick to your fate. And you are an enemy combatant. You are no longer a member of that, you know, quote-unquote state, or that group, or that community, or whatever. You know, you are an enemy combatant, and no quarter will be given. You know, until you surrender. You know, and then then you're into submission. You know. And so that pattern ends up following you like through your whole life, especially if you've been programmed really, really good, you know, and really deep. You know, you've been trained really well. You know, that programming follows you everywhere. And not only do other, like, abusive men know it, other, you know, more powerful women know it. Whether they're more powerful in, like, you know, societal success, or whether they're just bigger than you, or, you know, whether they just have, you know, connections, or they're, like, you know, street life, and, you know, that whole gang hierarchy thing that goes on there, which is a whole different story. You know, you will be subject to that hierarchy for the rest of your life, no matter where you go. And you either have to just learn how to deal with it and dance, or you fight. And if you choose to fight, and the fight, again, just means, no, I refuse to lie about myself and say that these things happened. This is what happened. You know, especially when you name it. Domestic violence. it's, all bets are off. You are an enemy combatant, yeah, that's just kind of hard to explain, but that's just literally the way it is, and it's everybody, because they make, if you go long enough, you get too many cooks in the kitchen, and now you're the target, and if, it's kind of an abstract idea for some people to comprehend, but if you find yourself in a room full of people who are all playing a game that you're not really privy to, and you're the target, you're gonna have a bad time, and sometimes that's just a house full of people. Sometimes it's your friends and family. Sometimes it's a full room in an AA meeting full of men. Sometimes it's on a bus full of men. Sometimes it's in the courtroom. Sometimes it's in a job interview. You go long enough, and then it's just everywhere, And so now, not only, you can only go to so many dead ends, and then they gotta up the game, up the ante, Now, not only are you the target, but you're the enemy combatant to everyone around you. And now, you're causing harm to everyone around you. And they know that not only are you an enemy combatant to them, or they think you are, but now you're an enemy combatant to them and their families, and their friends, and their communities. Because you're challenging the rank and file system of the patriarchy. The hierarchy of, toxic patriarchy? I don't know what you want to call it, but, whatever. That's tricky shit, but, it is what it is, right? But then you have people that you don't even know, that don't even know you, but know that you're the mark, and you're the reason why their mother got robbed, or their father lost his job, or his brother's house got broken into, or his wife's car got broken into, or the reason why his kids are being bullied at school. You're the problem. You're the reason. And you need to leave. The only problem is, when you leave, say you leave, say you flee to a whole nother state. You go across the entire country. Hey, guess what's waiting for you over there? A whole new unknown set of the same fucking game, the same players, the same chess pieces, the same order. And now you gotta figure out a whole new set of it, But they know you, Anywho, that is the life I live right now. I've tried my hardest to tap dance on that line and not take the bait. I've obviously taken some of the bait because I got, charges and convictions now or whatever. And that was dumb of me, but hey, live and learn. There's a whole bunch of other bait that, I didn't take. I'm not a prostitute, because that's usually where that goes. Because you gotta survive, I'm not a junkie, I'm not a child molester or an abuser. I'm not a thief. I'm not a bully as much as I want to be. I'm a little bit of a troll, but mostly just for mental health purposes, because it really helped me out. It helped me pull up my pants, you know? But I see this whole system, this whole hierarchy, and this whole structure, and we all see it. I mean, go ahead and say you don't. I know you gotta, you want to pay payroll too, that's fine, whatever, everybody gotta eat. But, like, I wanted to break out of it. And show my fellow man that we don't have to fight, like I didn't do that. And the next person in line after me did not do that, Fuck what you heard. But it's a barrier. Everywhere I go, it's a barrier. To getting housing, it's a barrier to making friends. It's a barrier to, stable employment. Like, it's a barrier for me to even, like, hang out with the people that I live with. Because I refuse to keep taking it, So I would rather isolate than put you in the position to defend your job or whatever it is that you need to defend. I'd rather just stay by myself and, but this world is really fucked up and hard to do on your own. Unless you're fucking independently wealthy or some shit, then hey, man, if I was independently wealthy, living on my own, fucking hey, sign me up. But I'm not, I really have to depend on, like, other people, and their resources too, and, contribute when I can or whatever. But, when it comes down to, like, interpersonal relationships, I get that you're up against a fight, but I'm up against a fight for my life, and in the future of maybe someone else won't have to go through this. I don't know if I make any changes in the world regarding it, but I know that pebbles in the pond, like, I make an action, I know that, like, somehow, spiritually, in a quantum way, that it, like, creates ripple effects that, maybe someone will see this video, or somebody paid attention to my Twitter feeds before I got nuked, or, you know what I mean, and somebody said, hey, there's someone else going through the same thing, and they're still alive, cool, I know I can at least go one more day, or this 5 more minutes, or whatever, and maybe nobody saw it, and maybe it's just, energetically out there, or whatever, but can only clean up our own little corner of the world, right? And I can't, like, change my neighbor's beliefs, or my old friend's beliefs, or, the ex, or my family, or, the employers that I would like to work for, or whatever. I can't change their beliefs, but I can, like, show you that I'm not the monster that you think I am, or that I've been played out to be, or whatever. And I can also, like, take steps to not turn into that, because this trajectory, whether it's, full-on man or woman domestic violence, or whether it's, community perpetrated toward a man, or whatever, because this comes in many forms. Like, I know that, this is getting to me. I lost my train of thought because I'm a little, this is heavy shit, I don't want to take it anymore. And I don't think anybody should have to take it. And I don't have to change you, but I can at least change me and not turn into the terrorist that the world wants me to be, the trajectory of going to that full-on extremism, I've been directed at that for years now, and, nope, no federal time for me, son, sorry. Sorry, copper. But that's a struggle, that really is a personal struggle, is not to unleash upon the world what, or upon my community what was unleashed upon me, that wrath. Like, that's like literally, you know, it's like, I don't know, maybe, a good analogy would be like being bit by a vampire, but you know that you gotta eat, but you don't really want to do that to your fellow people, so you don't bite them, like, I don't know. It's the only thing I can think of at the moment. It's kind of fitting though. But I don't want to do that. And I keep refusing to do it. I troll in my own way to kind of give back a little bit what was given to me, but I do it in a safe way, little littering, little civil disobedience, but that's my way of bucking the system. I've made it this far, even though it really is just a one way ticket to a dead end, another dead end, but, live to shoot another day, right? Live to spend another day sitting with your kids, or live to paint another picture, or whatever. But you don't give up, and you fight with love, I guess. Even though I really just want to burn shit down sometimes. At the end of the day, I really just want to. I know I need to fight, but you gotta fight with love, or else you're just a monster, So yeah, that's a pretty fucked up spider web of bullshit to have to keep going through for the rest of my life. But you mitigate the damage to yourself and to your children, and you don't follow the path that was laid out for you, Because that path was fucked up, man. Fucked up. Maybe sacrificing your ass in front of totem poles and shit. In front of a whole group of people. Oh. Anywho, so yeah. Careful them spider webs. Live to shoot another day.